Today, we do have a video about hard mode Kerapac. However, it is not going to be a guide for how to do hard mode Kerapac, although I do plan on making a hard mode Kerapac guide in the near future. But today we are going to be talking about tips or useful information that I have learned while doing a lot of hard mode Kerapac to be able to share with you guys so that it can improve your kills, your kill times, make it easier, make you die less, and just to try and make your overall experience at hard mode Kerapac a lot better. So I have some things that I want to share with you guys, and that is what we're going to be doing in this video. If you find it useful, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. However, before we get started in today's video, this video is sponsored by Opera GX. Opera GX is a web browser that I use personally, and it is a special version of the Opera browser built specifically for gamers, so all of you guys. Opera GX is also available on mobile, so you can actually connect that to the desktop version as well if you do quite often use your phone. The Opera GX browser offers a hell of a lot of pretty awesome features. For example, one of them is the GX Control. GX Control helps enhance performance on your PC when gaming with your browser open and get rid of lag. Perfect when you want to keep several tabs open for you guys that have hundreds and hundreds of tabs, but you don't want your browser to hurt your gaming performance. Now, I know plenty of you guys probably have way too many tabs open. Well, the GX Control panel allows you to limit the CPU, RAM, and network bandwidth that you're willing to let the browser use. And the other feature that I use an absolute ton is the GX Player. The GX Player lets you keep your favorite streaming services in one place. You can log into 3 apps, Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music directly from the sidebar. Whenever you start streaming video or audio in your browser tabs, the player automatically pauses and then automatically resumes once the tab is finished. So like I say, I personally do use the Opera GX browser, and I genuinely do think it is absolutely great. So if you haven't tried it yet, I would highly recommend that you do give it a try with the download link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you, Opera GX, for sponsoring this video. So as mentioned, there's going to be some things in here. In fact, there's going to be 8 things in here that I implement into pretty much every single kill at hard mode Kerapac that makes my life a hell of a lot better. We're going to start off at the beginning of the fight because that makes complete sense, and then we'll move our way along to the tips that you would use in the later part of the fight. I feel like it makes more sense. You guys should be able to remember it a bit easier that way. That's what we're going to do. So the first thing that you can absolutely do is, as you start the fight, you can drop a vulnerability bomb, right click and throw it on the ground a few seconds after you've triggered the fight by getting it close enough to where Kerapac is. Then you can drop the vulnerability bomb, meaning that he will land in that circle of the smoke, triggering the vulnerability as soon as he is there. Then you can drop your sunshine and press target cycle if you have that bound, which I suggest you do, and then immediately use smoke cloud. This will allow you to start the fight nice and quickly, get the smoke cloud off nice and easy, and you've already got your vulnerability bomb ready as well. Getting a good start to the fight is of course going to be very important, so getting that vuln bomb down before he lands to make it trigger as soon as he is attackable, and then target cycling and using the smoke cloud, whether you're on magic, melee, or range, is absolutely something worth learning. If you're not sure how to keybind the target cycling option, head into your settings, head to controls, and then you can find it in there under target cycle forward or target cycle backwards. I use the forward one. You can use the backwards. It doesn't matter too much. You only need to have one set, and then it'll cycle through any targets by pressing that keybind. It's super useful in a lot of situations. The next one is one that is very common at Kerapac, and most people know about this, but this video wouldn't be complete without it. So that is the first mechanic that he does, is where he lifts his staff in the air and then fires out a orb through you, which will stun you, and then also it will stay on the outside of the arena directly in line with you, doing magic damage towards you. However, this can be completely skipped, completely ignored, and made into absolutely nothing by just walking underneath Kerapac. This is something you can do nice and easy. As soon as you see the text above his head and you see him raise his staff, walk underneath him by right-clicking and pressing walk here, or just clicking between his legs, and wait until that mechanic is finished. He will still do the animation, but nothing will happen. No orb will fire out. No magic damage will be done to you. You can step right out and go back to doing DPS. This is by far the best way to deal with this mechanic, and it is something you can do through all of the phases to make this mechanic completely worthless. If you do mess this up and he does get the ability off, you need to keep in mind that you can no longer use this, as every time that he will do this afterwards, whether you stand underneath him or not, he will still stun you and fire out the attack. That being said, you can fix this if you stay in the same phase and let him use the special attack again after the lightning wall, and then it will allow you to fix it. If you phase though after messing it up, it will be unfixable and you won't be able to dodge this mechanic for the rest of the fight. The next one adds a pretty good way to deal with the dives. Now, the second mechanic Kerapac does, he's going to raise into the air, and then he's going to, after a certain amount of time, bring his staff forward, and then he's going to dive on top of you. If he lands on you, he will stun you unless you have the signet ring completely upgraded, and he's going to deal rapid melee damage to you as well. This can kill you very quickly unless you're in Crypt Bloom or you're using defenses to deal with it, or you move out of the way. You can completely dodge this by using Surge or Escape as he brings his staff forward just before he dives on top of you. Many people know this, but this isn't a guide. This is a useful tip on how you can deal with this in a better way. What I do is, if you're in a sunshine, you don't want to be leaving that sunshine or death swiftness because you don't want to be losing that damage. What you can do is, as he jumps in the air and starts to do an animation, walk forwards just outside of your sunshine, and just as he's about to use the dive animation and his staff does come forward, use the escape button and you'll escape back into your sunshine or death swiftness, and he will land just outside of it. This will allow you to then, when he goes back into the air, do the exact same thing again, as your escape or surge doesn't go on cooldown if you time this correctly. So when he goes back into the air, run back out of it again and then escape back into your sunshine or death swiftness, meaning you can always get that extra damage boost. And of course, this makes the mechanic super easy. You take no damage and you can just continue on doing DPS. Number 4 is not to tank the melee hits when he does dive on top of you. Many people just stand there and tank this in Crit Bloom because you can jump and reflect, or you can have Enhanced Devotion to deal with this, and you can just tank it, and this way you can try and kind of skip the lightning wall. However, it's important to know that when you are dealing damage to Kerapac while he is doing this, you are dealing a lot of reduced damage to him. He will be taking way less damage, and you will be taking a lot longer to do the kill because getting his health down while he's doing this takes a hell of a long time compared to normal. So personally, I prefer to not tank this whatsoever, and if I have to deal with a lightning wall, it really isn't that difficult to deal with, and that's what the next tip's going to be about. However, like I say, don't tank this if you're worried about getting faster kills or anything like that, and just move out of the way of it, let him go in the air, let him use the lightning wall mechanic. It's not the end of the world, that's needed to deal with, but this way all of your damage will apply as 100% damage rather than being reduced by a lot. Tanking this can let you skip the lightning mechanic, but it will slow you down a fair amount. Number 5 is how to deal with the lightning wall if you aren't going to surge, bladed dive, or escape through it. So many of you will know to surge through or bladed dive through the wall to make sure you don't take any damage. If you surge through it at the right time, you're not going to take any damage. This mechanic can deal a hell of a lot of damage, but if you literally just put on your shield and use Reflect and Debilitate, you will be surprised at how little damage this does, especially if you're using Crit Bloom or Ganodermic and using Animate Dead. You will take very little damage from this. You can literally just stand still, let the lightning wall go past you, or you can run directly through it to make sure you get it over and done with even quicker. On phase 3, when there is 3 lightning walls, this is literally how I deal with this mechanic. I will still use Reflect and Debil, even if I plan on surging through it, because hey, you know what? It doesn't matter too much. It makes life way easier and it takes away the risk of dying. I will use Reflect, I will use Debilitate, sometimes I'll even use Resonance, and then I'll surge through the lightning walls and try and deal with it that way. But if I do take hits, it's not the end of the world. It does very little damage at this point and you can kind of just chill out. This kind of removes any risk whatsoever from this mechanic as long as you have enough adrenaline to use those defenses. So don't panic, don't use Barricade, which is 100% adrenaline, just use Reflect, use Debilitate, and just make your way through the walls. Another good habit to get into for tip number 6 is every time you use the Time Warp ability, if you are going to use something like Sunshine or Death Swiftness to drop an ultimate and get more damage out of it, keep in mind that you can also use Limitless to get some thresholds off before it does reset. So once you've Sunshined or use Death Swiftness, use Limitless as well, and you can either get Devotion off for some extra defense and take 0 damage, or you can throw some thresholds to get extra damage out. When the Time Warp does expire, it does reset your Limitless as well, meaning you can take advantage of this big time. Even if you want to use this with the Staff of Armadyl to use your tendrils after you've used Staff Spec and stuff, you can still use Limitless to get any extra damaging abilities off, keeping in mind these will all be reset with their cooldowns as well straight afterwards to get some more damage out or to use some more defensives and stuff while your adrenaline is only at 15% after dropping an ultimate. This is very useful. I use this a lot in the last phase to get an extra devotion out, so take advantage of this where you see fit, but using Limitless after you've dropped an ultimate like a Sunshine or something is incredibly useful, and I just wanted to include this one. Number 7 is one that, again, that many people do know about, but again, without including this video would kind of just not really be complete, and it would definitely be missing this. People would be commenting it down below 100%. If you are in phase 4, which hopefully you are in every kill, you want to get to phase 4 at least, right? You want to get the kill done. In phase 4, you can jump into a clone immediately as you have 3 available and use a vitality potion to make sure that you double your health. However, if you immediately after using a vitality potion jump to another clone, that clone that you'd use the vitality potion on will stay at doubled HP. The clone will stay at 20,000 health, it won't expire, and you will be able to use that clone to help tank the Kerapac clone that it's fighting for a lot longer than it normally would be able to. So this way you can deal with the other 2 nice and chill and casual without having to panic about this one, because it is going to survive twice as long as the other 2 clones. This is 100% something you want to do in almost every single kill to make your last phase a lot easier. It makes a huge difference, as when your clones do die or their clones do die, you are going to be increasing the enrage of the main Kerapac, taking a lot more damage once you do this. So keeping it alive for longer is definitely going to help you out in the long run, so make sure you do this. Jump into a clone the second you get into phase 4, use a vitality potion, and then immediately jump into another one, leaving the other one with 20k health rather than the regular 10,000 or whatever health your character has, to keep it alive a lot longer. Finally, this is something that a lot of people, again, already know this mechanic exists and probably is kind of second nature to a lot of people listening, but this is something I get asked about a lot while I'm on stream because it is incredibly helpful and it makes the last phase so much easier. When you kill a target using devotion, it extends the devotion timer. This includes killing one of the clones. So what I tend to do is get 2 clones at very low HP, and then I'll use devotion, ideally with a time warp if you can, and then kill the clone off, extending the timer. Then kill the second clone and extend it again, and head over to the final clone with a nice healthy duration devotion, meaning you take no damage at all for a hell of a long time. I can't even begin to say how good this is and how helpful this is, especially in like ranged gear. Like, this helps out so much. Get the targets low, use your devotion, kill the target off, extend your devotion, and get a much easier phase 4 just from doing this. If you didn't know this, this applies everywhere as well. If you use devotion and kill a target, no matter where you are, it will extend your devotion. There's a limit on how much you can extend it by, but killing both of these clones will extend your devotion, and you want to make sure you're doing this. Keep in mind though, if the target dies to familiar, then you won't get the timer, so make sure you use an ability to finish off the target. And there we have it. That is my 8 tips for you guys to help improve at Kerapac hard mode. I hope it does help, and I hope it does make your kills a lot smoother by applying those things, and I hope you did learn something. If you did, then do leave a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here and found this useful and would like more stuff in the future with this sort of thing. If you guys would like me to cover other bosses as well, then do let me know in the comments which bosses you would like me to do this with, and also let me know that you enjoyed this sort of thing and you found it useful as well, and I will cover this on other bosses and go through other stuff that I've learned and picked up along the way as well. Finally, channel members, your names are on screen right now. Thank you all so much for the extra support. I very much appreciate it, like so much. It does keep the channel going a lot more than you probably realize, so once again, thank you all so much for the extra support. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. One last reminder, don't forget to download Opera GX if you haven't already. Honestly, it genuinely is a great browser. I use it. It is by far my favorite browser, and that's why I was happy to use this as a sponsor in this video. Anyway guys, I'll catch you all in the next one. See you later guys.